Hello students, my next lecture is on periodontal ligament. The periodontal ligament is derived from two words, that is the peri and odont. Two words, peri and odont. Now what is peri? Peri means the around and odont means the tooth. So something around the tooth. So tissue that supports and the teeth is colloquially known as periodontium. So this periodontal ligament is a soft, fibrous, specialized connective tissue that is present in the periodontal ligament space that is situated between the cementum of the tooth and the bone forming around the socket. So the periodontal ligament extends coronally up to the most apical part of the connective tissue of the gingiva. So it is basically a hourglass shaped in appearance. The periodontal ligament is hourglass shaped in appearance. In the center, it is thinnest. So at the center, it is the middle third, it is the thinnest. So it is a oar shaped and it is thinnest in the middle third of root. And it widens both apically and near the crust. So for your exam point of view, you have to remember that periodontal ligament, it is a hourglass shape. So that is why it is said to be a hourglass shaped in appearance. Other point that you have to remember is what is the width of periodontal ligament. For your exam point of view, remember it is 0.15 mm to 0.38 mm in width. Also remember that the periodontal ligament, it decreases with the age. So what are the key points that you have to remember? Number one, it is oar-shaped glass in appearance. It is thinnest at the middle third of the root. The width is 0.15 mm to 0.38 mm. And it decreases with the age. What are the fibers that constitute the periodontal ligament? So the periodontal ligament consists of collagen and oxytocin fibers. They are the main fibers. It contains small amount of glycogen, proteoglycan, glycoprotein, etc. So for exam point of view, you have to just remember that the major component is type 1 collagen. The major component is type 1 collagen along with the type 3 collagen. As the name suggests, periodontal ligament. So remember, it is neither a typical membrane nor a typical ligament. It is a complex soft connective tissue. So it is a soft connective tissue, providing the continuity between the two mineralized tissue, that is between the cementum and the alveolar bone. The other name of the periodontal ligament is desmodont pericementum, or periodontal membrane. It could be, other name could be dental periosteum, so development of the periodontal ligament. The periodontal ligament, it develops from the dental follicle. The periodontal ligament develops from the dental follicle. The cell of the dental follicle that differentiate into fibroblast. So these cells differentiate into fibroblasts that synthesize the fibers and ground substance of the periodontal ligament. The fibers of periodontal ligament, they are embedded in the newly developed cementum and bone as the tooth erupts. So the development of periodontal ligament begins with the root formation prior to the tooth eruption. So there is continuous proliferation of internal and external epithelium from the cervical cusp of the tooth bud, and sheath of epithelial cells grow apically in the form of Hartwig root sheet. So the dental follicle cells that are located between the alveolar bone and the epithelial root sheets, they are composed of two components. One is the mesenchyme cells of dental follicle proper, and other is the proliferative mesenchyme. So these mesenchymal cells, they are bounded by the dental follicle proper, and the bone is stellate shaped. So as the root formation continues, the cell in the perifollicular area gain their polarity and cell volume, and synthesis and the synthetic activity increases. So these cells become elongated and contains increased amount of RER, mitochondria, and active Golgi complex, and as the result they synthesize the collagen fibrils. The studies have indicated that the population of cells of periodontal ligament during the development and regeneration secrete molecules that can regulate the extent of mineralization and prevent the fusion of tooth with the surrounding bones. The thing that you have to remember for your exam is that MSX2, it prevents the osteogenic the MX2 gene prevents the osteogenic differentiation of periodontal ligament by repressing the RUNX2 So this MSX2 will prevent the osteogenic differentiation of the periodontal ligament fibers by repressing the RUNX2, that is also known as CBFA1 core binding factor alpha. So the balance between the activity of these bone celloproteins and osteopontin contributes to our maintaining an unmineralized periodontal ligament region. The other inhibitor that is present and plays an important role in inhibition of mineralization in the periodontal ligament is matrix GLA protein. So the matrix GLA protein, it is a inhibitor of mineralization. Cementum attached protein, it is a collagen associated proteins that play a role in maintaining the unmineralized state of the periodontal ligament. So the periodontal ligament, it has a capacity to adapt to the functional changes. So whenever there is a functional changes, there is increase in the width of the periodontal ligament. So the fibers and the bundles, that too increase in the thickness. However, a reduce in function, that will lead to the narrowing of the ligament, and there will be decrease in the number and thickness of fiber bundles. So if there is increase in the number and thickness of fibers, that means the function, there is increased functional changes. So increased functional changes causes increase in the number of fibers and increase in the width of PDL. A reduction in the function, that will lead to narrowing of ligament, decrease in the number and thickness of the fibers bundle. Coming to the extracellular structures that are present in the periodontal ligament. The extracellular structures that are present, that could be either be fibers or ground substance. The fibers, that could be collagen fibers, as we discussed that type 1 and type 3 collagen that are present, type 1 is present in abundant. Other fibers are elastic fibers, reticular fibers, oxytylene fibers, and indifferent fiber plexus. So you have to remember for your exam that these oxytylene fibers, they are present where? They are present in the periodontal ligament. Whereas the ground substance will consist of number 1 proteoglycans, glycoproteins, and glycoaminoglycans. So basically 2 parts, fibers and ground substance, that are present in the periodontal ligament. So type 1 and type 3 are the most abundant fibers. The important part is the Sharpey's fibers. So what are these Sharpey's fibers? The terminal portion of the principal fibers that are inserted into the cementum. So this area is the cementum. These are the principal fibers that are inserted into the cementum. These represents the Sharpey's fibers. Now, what is the importance of these sharp edge fibers? So you have to remember that it forms a continuous anastomosing network between the tooth and the bone. So these sharp edge fiber form an anastomosing network that is between the tooth and the bone. So the end of periodontal ligament fibers that are embedded into the alveolar bone and the cementum, they are known as the sharp edge fiber. So it is very important for exam point of view. Examiner could ask you question regarding this sharp edge fiber. So these sharp edge fibers, they are abundant in non-collagenous protein that is found in the bone and cementum. Among these are the osteopontin and the sialoprotein. Remember the collagen, it is a protein of different amino acid. Most important is the glycine, proline and hydroxyproline. That constitute the collagen. So the principal fibers that are present in the periodontal ligament, they are arranged in 5 pattern groups. What are those? Number 1 comes the transseptal fibers. Second, alveolar cleft fibers, horizontal fibers, oblique fibers, apical fibers, and interradicular fibers. So first comes the alveolar cleft fibers. The fibers originate from the, so these fibers originate from the cleft of the alveolar process. So from the cleft of alveolar process to the, from cleft of alveolar process to the cervical part of the cementum. So what will these fibers do? So these fibers resist the forcing like tilting, extrusive forces, intrusive forces, and rotational forces. Second comes the horizontal fibers. They are at the right angle to long axis of the tooth from the cementum to the alveolar bone. So these fibers are almost parallel to the occlusal plane of the arc. So what will these fibers do? It will resist the horizontal forces and tipping forces. Third comes the oblique fibers. The bundle of oblique group constitute the main attachment of the tooth. So which fibers are most numerous? These are the oblique fibers. Numerous are the oblique fibers. So they run obliquely from the cementum to the bone. So these are the most numerous, as you can see in this pic. So the function of these oblique fiber is to resist the vertical and intrusive forces. The apical, these fibers radiate from the apical region of tooth to the surrounding bone. So they will resist the luxation force. So they will prevent the tipping movement and protect the blood vessels, lymph and nerves. The interradicular septum in the interradicular group, they originate from the furcation area of the multi-rooted tooth to the cleft of the interradicular septum. So these fibers will be exposed when the furcation area is exposed. The transseptal fibers, so these, they will run interproximally, extending from the cementum of the one tooth to the cementum of the other tooth. So their function is to protect the interproximal bone and maintain the tooth-to-tooth contact. So the key points that you have to remember for your exam is fibers that are reconstructed after the destruction of the alveolar bone. So the fibers that are reconstructed after the destruction of alveolar bone, that are the transseptal fibers. So remember, these resist the tooth separation, that is either mesial or the distal. The fibers that resist the tooth separation, that comes the transseptal fibers. The fibers that prevents the extrusion, intrusion, rotation movement of the tooth, they are the alveolar crust fibers. The largest principal fiber groups are the oblique fibers. So oblique fibers, so they bear the vertical masticatory forces. So they bear the vertical masticatory stress and transfer them into tension on the alveolar bone. They are the largest group of the principal fibers. The fibers resisting the forces of the luxation and rotation, they are the apical fibers. The principal fibers runs a wavy course from the cementum to the bone. The fibers arising from the cementum and the bone are joined in the mid portion of periodontal ligament space. So giving a zone of distinct appearance, that is known as intermediate plexus. So in addition to these fibers, some small collagen fibers that run in association with the large collagen fibers, that are described as indifferent fiber plexus. Coming to the cell of periodontal ligament. The periodontal ligament has various cells that could be: number one, connective tissue cells. The connective tissue cells that either could be synthetic cells or resorptive cells. The synthetic cells are the fibroblast cells, cementoblast and osteoblast cells. Whereas the resorptive cells, they are osteoclast, Odontoblast, and cementoblast. The epithelial reft cells that are the epithelial reft of melanocytes. The defense cells macrophages, mast cells, and eosinophils. So for exam point of view, you have to remember is the most predominant cells. What are those cells? These are the fibroblasts. So the most predominant cells that are present in the periodontal ligament, they are the fibroblasts. So they are associated with protein synthesis and secretion. They are ovoid or elongated cells oriented along with the principal cells. The remodeling of collagen in the periodontal ligament is not confined to any intermediate zone, but it occurs along the entire width of the periodontal ligament. So because of the exceptionally high rate of the turnover of the collagen in the periodontal ligament, any interference in the fibroblast function by a disease rapidly progresses a loss of tooth supporting tissue. Others are the osteoblasts. So these are found on the surface of the alveolar bone. These are the bone forming cells that are derived from osteoprogenitor cells. So the cytoplasm is basophilic, nucleus is ovoid because of abundant RER, that is rough endoplasmic reticulum. So in the osteoblast there is present alkaline phosphate. That is responsible for its mineralization. So it plays an important role in removal or deposition of matrix and of calcium when required. Other cells are the cementoblasts. So they are cells that are responsible for excreting the organic matrix, mainly the collagen of the cementum. So it differs from the periodontal ligament fibroblast that it has lesser amount of rough endoplasmic reticulum, it has more mitochondria and appears near the cementum part. Coming to the resorptive cells that are osteoclast, odontoclast and cementoblast. The osteoclast, they are the bone resorbing cells. So they are the large cells having numerous nuclei. So they are present on the surface of bone where it is removed. So at such location, the cell occupying the pit called lacunae of Hauschiltz. So how are these osteoclasts formed? They are formed by the fusion of the mononuclear cells that arise from the bone marrow. Also remember, they are inhibitor of osteoprotegrin. Cementoclast, they resembles the osteoclast. They are located in horse-shaped lacunae. So since the constant deposition of cementum occurs, these cells are not seen during the normal functioning of the cementum. So they have a few ribosomes, few RER reticulum, that is rough endoplasmic reticulum, ruffled border. The epithelial rest cells, they are the epithelial rest cells of the melanocytes. So they form a lattice in the periodontal ligament and appears as either isolated clusters of cells or the interlacing cells. So that they represents the remnant of development Hartwig epithelial root sheath. So they represents the remnants of Hartwig epithelial root sheath. So that is involved in the differentiation of root odontoblast, and it also secretes the enamel-like proteins. There was a study that found that ankylosis and subsequent root resorption never occurred when the periodontal ligament that contained epithelial rest cells that were retained. So these authors suggested that the epithelial cell rest that may be the factor in limiting the resorption and plays a role in the maintenance of the periodontal ligament space. Coming to the defense cells, these are the macrophages, mast cells, and the eosinophils. The first are the macrophage cells. So macrophage cells, they have the ability to phagocytose the unwanted material. So their cytoplasm contains numerous lysosomes that helps in digesting the material that is phagocytosed by the macrophages. These macrophages may fuse together and form a large multinucleated giant cells. Mast cells, these are the round or oval cells. So presence of numerous granules in the cytoplasm. The granules are known to contain acid monopolysaccharides. The cell membrane of mast cells contains antibody that reacts with the antigen. So that leads to rupture of cells that discharge the histamine and serotonin. So this discharge in turn leads to the local reaction, that is the urticaria or severe reaction like the anaphylactic shock.